Hello and welcome to Startup with Ferris live stream. Thank you for tuning in. So, what's new in the world of entrepreneurship? Pricing, pricing, pricing. Tens of new business owners I've been speaking with, they're not certain how to price their services. If they set their prices too high, their concern is that no one will buy. Now, if they set the prices too low, they'll lose money. Then other questions come up. Do they sell hourly? Do they sell based on a project, a hybrid? They're not really sure. And the list of these concerns goes on and on and on. And they're all legitimate and valid concerns. So I decided to tackle this head on and share the pricing strategies that have worked for me over the last 20 years and provide you with some specific guidelines and how to set up your own pricing strategy. This way, uh, you can you can start making better margins today, and also you can evolve the way you look at pricing and the way you charge and the way you improve your margin over time as your business grows. So with that in mind, uh, most of us have heard of the story of the machine that no one could fix except this specialist or maybe the safe that had some important document that someone needed but they couldn't open. They lost the keys, but and then they had to get a specialist, and then the specialist charged a whole lot of money. But I'm going to tell you a story that happened with me a few months ago. I was out of town, came back, and my wife said, "I think I'm hearing some scratching in the ceiling in the attic." I said, "Okay," and it was quiet at night. Then the next morning, I heard a little bit of that, and then in that afternoon, around 4 or 5 p.m., I heard a whole lot of scratching and that noise, and said, "Okay, there's probably a rat or there's some sort of rodent in there." So mustered some courage, put on my mask and goggles, and went up the attic, and with my flashlight, or I think the iPhone flashlight, and I looked around, and then this little squirrel rose its head. Oh my goodness, we have a squirrel in the attic. So I'm not sure what to do. Uh, Went online, searched, and called several, emailed several, and one of them, one of the rodent specialists, reached back to me uh, within like 20 minutes, and he was very knowledgeable. He talked about how he's been doing this for a long time, how he does his deed in a humane way. He also takes care of any dirt that's left behind, and he also shared the concerns about if we don't take care of this right away, the rodents could, obviously bite up the cables, the wires. They could obviously they could be bringing in germs and bacteria. So he put the fear of God in me that I had to take care of something right away. So I said, "Okay, I'm convinced. How much does it cost?" And he said $800. And he said, "I'll come in this evening in a couple of hours and take care of it, and it's all done. And I will seal the hole where these rodents are coming into the attic." So $800 for something that potentially would take 15, 20 minutes is something I was willing to pay. And I think a lot of us in the same, if you can afford, if not, you have to deal with it maybe on your own. Uh, but if you needed something, if you had documents in a safe, or if you have an assembly line and your most important machine is down and you need someone to fix it, you are going to pay a specialized technician to come in and take care of what you need right away. So we've heard a lot of these stories. I used to think that they're made up stories, but hey, it happened to me. One of my colleagues here, he had the story with his brother and the safe, and they had to bring someone in and pay them a lot of money to open the safe. So these things do happen. And the point here is that these are ways that people with experience, with expertise, who have identified a need for a certain consumer base, they can charge a premium. So, yes, we might think it's expensive, and it was. But then, if you think of the years of experience that this person had in their niche, and the value they offer you, the peace of mind, you're not hearing scratching in the ceiling, or you can get your passport, or whatever important document you have in a safe or whatever machine that's broken, you can get back your production line back going. So the value that these specialists offer is really important to us, and then we're willing to pay a premium. Now, uh, if you're a new founder, new business owner, you might be very reluctant to actually charge a whole lot of money. You're just new to business. You're new to sales. Maybe you haven't done 200 projects, and you haven't really mastered how to deliver and how to provide that niche service. So that's okay, and that's why I'm dedicating this series, the next few live streams, the next few episodes, to talk about pricing from the very, very early stage of positioning yourself. That's what we'll cover today, which is core to pricing. And then in this series, I'll be covering pricing in the different stages of your business. What you do in week one, month one, the first quarter is not the same as what you do a year in the business with a lot of customers, or maybe 5 years, into the business. Also, there are different pricing models. I alluded to some earlier. I don't want you to look at pricing in terms of the time you spend. So there's a way, I think, to, once you understand the value that you offer, and once you have that confidence to project that value and show it to the clients, you can change the way you price, and you can really command a premium. But everyone is different, and you might be actually competing on price as your business model is on scale and maybe mass production, and you compete on efficiency and price. That's also very valid. But in services and consulting, there are different ways where you can charge a premium, and that's what I want to cover again in this series. We'll also talk about one last thing here about benchmarking, the factors that determine how you benchmark your price. And then I want to go over some specific examples. I want to also talk about how you iterate on your pricing model and how you perfect it over time. Again, I'll be sharing what worked with me when we were selling to small and mid-sized businesses, to the local restaurants, to the local dentist here in the Bay Area. And then as we evolved and started a business overseas, and then another business, and also grown our original business to sell to Fortune 500. So a whole lot of different models, a whole lot of different approaches. Some worked well, some didn't, but we learned from those that didn't not work, and I'll be sharing those with you so you can pick what works for you best. And I think at the end of this series, what I'm finalizing now is a blueprint or a pricing guide that has some input, and based on those inputs, you can see the outputs that maybe are applicable to you. But before we get into the session today, into the meat of the session, let's just see what we have in terms of, we have some questions coming in here. But before that, please continue to send us your questions, your comments. You can leave them in whichever platform you're on, or you can submit using the form in the description. Also, let me know what you think of this content. We have this weekly live stream on Wednesdays. So let me know what you think about it. Let me know what other topics you'd like me to cover. And again, leave us a comment or email me or direct message me on LinkedIn, or just go on startupwithfaris.com. Faris is FERAS.com. So whether you're watching live, listening live, or tuning in later, I'd love to hear from you. Again, leave us a comment, ask us a question. I'll be more than happy to answer on these live streams. All right, so let's jump in. So in terms of what's on the top of the business owner's mind, obviously we want to build this business, we want to grow the business, we want to sell. How do I determine the right price for my service? Is probably top of mind. So the answer on determining the price, it's going to depend on a mix of what services you offer, the level of experience you have, the industry you're in, and also the market you're in. So the right price isn't always clear, and certainly it's not fixed. There's no single price that fits all situations. Even if you fix, let's say you're selling hourly and you say, I'm going to sell at $150 an hour or $200 an hour. There are many situations where you want to either up that price or lower that price. And again, we'll talk into those situations later. But it's not just, it's sort of like once, and it's like you do it once, you set up your price, and you sleep on it, and it just, this is the price I have for the rest of my business. No, there are different variations, there are different factors. So what I want to focus in this episode on how you communicate, how to communicate the value of your service, the value of what your business provides to the client, and also you as a service provider, you as a business owner. People buy from people. So when you look someone in the eye in person, on Zoom, even over the phone, people can feel if you're confident, if you know what you're talking about, if you're passionate about it. So I want you to really focus on how to communicate what is it that you offer. And this is essential because at the end of the day, all business transactions are an exchange of value, or more precisely, exchange of perceived value. So regardless of which fee structure you eventually choose, one that isn't based at least partially on the value you deliver will most likely be underpriced. So you're leaving money on the table, as they say. You're not charging as much as you can. And also, competing on price alone over the long term is a definite race to the bottom. It's just not sustainable. Again, there's an exception here. And all these rules and all these approaches, strategies, there are always exceptions. So if you set up a business, I had a friend of mine where he was selling to small and mid-sized, very small businesses. He had this package, $150 a month, that you get 1, 2, and 3. That's it. And his goal was just to sell as many of those packages as possible. And I think he reached like 200 customers, and he had a nice recurring business, recurring revenue. So that is there are situations where competing on price works and works well, and you see that in retail. But in a services and consulting, especially when you're starting to add a whole lot more value, when there's your time or maybe your consultant's time, your own team's time is involved, you don't want to compete on price. I think it's a definite race to the bottom. So your unique value proposition, buzzword alert here, your UVP, this is really important. It's a clear statement that communicates the unique benefits and the unique value your services offer to your target customers. Even if there are 20 other folks, excuse me, 20 other folks in town offering what you offer, you have to think of your own unique value proposition. Because this UVP, it answers the fundamental question: why should customers choose you over your competitors? So you have to, if you haven't gone through your business planning, for those of you who are just starting a business or thinking to start a business, and you're doing, not a 50-page business plan, as I always say, maybe just jotting down some ideas and jotting down some numbers. It's important to think of the unique value proposition. Now, why is this important? Let me address it after we get our first question from the community. Let's see what we have. What is the difference between unique value proposition and a quantity sales proposition? A quantity sales proposition. I'm not sure if this is defined in a certain way. Quantity sales proposition, I haven't heard it put in these terms. But I mean, the unique value proposition, as we will define it here in a little bit, it's about your experience. It's about what you bring to the table. It's about how you differentiate from your competitors. But if you're selling, I think, gadgets, and you're selling, or maybe like a block of hours, 10 hours, 20 hours of my services, again, I'm not sure what the quantity sales proposition is. So I'm really not sure how to answer this. But unique is about you, about your areas of expertise, about how you differentiate. It's about you understanding the audience really well and resonating with them in a certain way. Quantity sales proposition, I'm not sure what that is. If we can actually, if you can just offer some more details on what you mean by a quantity sales proposition, then maybe we'll come back to this question after I get an understanding of what that is. All right. So we will, let's see, we will move on in terms of the UVP. So let me just check one thing here. Okay, reply to this one comment here. Cool. So in terms of the why is this unique value proposition um, important to your business? Why do you want to spend time and some energy defining that? It is it's crucial for many reasons. As I said briefly earlier, differentiation. In today's marketplace that is super crowded, you go and search online, you see a bunch of providers of maybe a service you want to offer. So if it's a crowded marketplace, how you differentiate is key. Your own value proposition, it's going to distinguish you from competitors and will help you stand out in the minds of potential customers. When when you speak with your leads, the way you position yourself is important. So for example, you could say whatever service you offer, you can say, hey, we charge higher because we deliver on time. And then the job is not considered done until we exceed your expectations. So what did I say? You're saying we charge higher because we deliver on time and we exceed your expectations. We're not done till we do that. So you are differentiating yourself with on-time delivery, and obviously you're guaranteeing client satisfaction. Now, this could be a tagline that you use, but you got to deliver on what you promised. Otherwise, your reputation in the marketplace will suffer. And if there's a rating system, you might be getting like low, 2 stars out of 5 or what have you. So you want to make sure whatever that tagline, whatever you're committing to the customer, to the lead, whatever you're differentiating with, make sure you deliver on that. The second thing here is why the unique value proposition is crucial is because it's about perception. People perceive the value that you offer based on what you tell them, based on what they hear about you, based on maybe they talk to other customers. So the UVP shapes how customers perceive the value of your services. So a compelling value proposition will justify your premium pricing and will enhance your customer willingness to pay. So in the example we mentioned earlier, our rodent specialist or the safe specialist or the machine specialist, it's the value that I had my passport in the safe and I can't open it. I'm traveling tomorrow. I need help today. I have a squirrel in my attic. I need it out of here ASAP, right? So you're willing to pay because of that value of that perceived value of what you offer. Another thing to also keep in mind um, is that a strong UVP attracts your ideal customer because it addresses their specific needs, their pain points, their desires, their aspirations. So if you sell, for example, let's say you sell process automation consulting services. You come into an organization and it takes them forever to get a work order passed through from the time they sell it to the time they deliver it. It takes 2 weeks. So you can come in with your years of experience in automation and understanding processes and training. You can maybe optimize that into 3 days from 2 weeks. So real business benefit to the business owner. So when you in your value proposition in your UVP, if you say we help you save 20%, up to 20% in operational cost, and we leverage AI tools in our automation, and you mean it, and you are using AI in that way, uh, you want to get, when you articulate your value proposition that way, you are going to attract customers who are who are early adopters of technology, because you mentioned AI and process automation and maybe some few other buzzwords, and those are the customers you want. You don't want to get leads who are technology averse, who are maybe, as they're called, like laggards. They're not early adopters. Yes, you can help these laggards, these technology averse people, but that's not your forte. Your forte is focusing and helping those who are into trying cutting edge technologies, and they're willing to pay a premium for it. So customer attraction is important, because if your brand identity, which is my last point on this here, if you're not consistent in your messaging, you're not consistent in your marketing material, you're not consistent in what you have on your website, on your LinkedIn profile, then people will get confused. Is this person like high tech, cutting edge, leveraging AI, or is this person maybe more used to conventional, traditional systems? So if you're not consistent and true to your UVP, you'll confuse people in your network when they're seeing your updates on LinkedIn, or when they're getting your emails. Which, by the way, if you confuse your network, if your network doesn't know exactly what you offer because you're not consistent in the way you're articulating your brand messaging, then you're not going to get referrals, because a lot of times you get referrals from our network. And then also the people you market to, they'll also be confused because they're not certain what is it specifically that you offer. So those are four things that are really important in terms of understanding why UVP is crucial. It's to summarize, we talked about differentiation between you and the competitors. We talked about that the way customers perceive the value of your services, and then customer attraction, and then that brand identity, in terms of, again, these might come across as buzzwords, but no, it's like, if you see the same message from a specific vendor all the time, it's gonna stick in our minds that this person does such and such. My case, the rodent specialist, I know he's very good. I know whom to call next time. And because he differentiated, he was willing to come the same evening. He convinced me he showed how much experience he had, and he also um, really wowed me with the amount of information he knew about the situation. So again, all of these are important. This last time I'll mention the rodent specialist, but it was something that happened to me, and I know you have. I'm pretty sure everyone has similar examples in their own life. So let's see what other questions we have before we get into how to identify your own UVP. Do we have a comment on that first question? So okay, so I got a clarification on that first question. So it's a unique. What's so the question was, what was the unique? What was the difference between the unique value proposition and the unique sales proposition? So I'm still not very clear on that, but anyhow, I think we can address it offline. But the unique sales proposition, I mean, the value proposition is about just you, your brand, your company. You want to be consistent across social media. Like, once you document it, once you say, like, this is really who I am, this is what I do, these are my skills, this is how I differentiate. You want to have maybe a tagline specific, like the way you describe your business, and that you just want to be very consistent across every marketing asset that you have, whether it's your social media accounts, maybe your LinkedIn profile, your website. If you use Upwork, whatever the case might be very consistent. So for the unique sales proposition, I think that could be, if I understand the question correctly, that could be the specific thing you're proposing, um, unique sales, like in that specific sales, like when you're speaking with a specific customer, there might be something specific to that customer. Again, so I think I still don't understand that question. If you have more details, email me later. Happy to chat with you offline. But let's see, do we have another question on UVP or pricing in general? So what if, this is the question here, what if I'm just looking to serve a local market? Is it enough to be unique within that geographic area? A good question. So if you're serving a local market, is it enough to be unique within that geographic area? So I would say yes. The only thing is you have to look at also your competitors. And two things I would say, look at, just because you serve a specific geography, it doesn't mean that competitors from outside this geography are not penetrating this market. At the same time, just because you claim, or you proclaim, or you know, announce I'm serving this market, it doesn't mean that clients are not going to look elsewhere. So keep that in mind. Now, if depending on the service, if something to do online, let's say you're a copywriter, let's say you're a communications coach, let's say you're financial advisor, I think geography these days is is not a factor in the way people choose these types of service providers. So you're competing with everybody online, including people maybe overseas, right? So keep that in mind. But if your service, the service that you offer, is local by nature. Let's say you provide, we always just say fun example, paper shredding services, and you have a truck or a number of trucks, and you go around businesses and you get their sensitive paper and you dispose that. I mean, that is, I think it's hard to get someone from another city to come and do this. It's just it just typically doesn't happen. I think if the type of the service that you offer is local by nature, and people always customers use local providers, I think focusing on the uniqueness of you, then focusing on that local market is just sufficient. Another thing I would say here, if you're competing with people who are not in your local market, so this actually happened to me in one of our businesses early on when offshoring started to become a thing. This is 15 plus years ago. And a lot of you go to sell to a customer, and they say, yeah, I can have someone overseas do it for like 20% the price. So we lost business. We had actually, after we figured out how to sell, now we have a new challenge, and people are offshoring. So we sat down, and after a few losses and feeling awful, terrible, but hey, that's the nature of the business. You learn from when you fail. So we figured, like, let's use this as an advantage. So you can offshore programming, you can offer many things. Actually, you can outsource many things to another geography, or maybe overseas, where there are more advantageous labor costs. But we're local. So in terms of meeting face to face, some clients would pay a premium for face to face meetings. In terms of, let's say you want to do an audit. Let's say you sell to business, B2B, and you want to go and meet with different stakeholders within a company to do your discovery before. Let's say you're doing a financial audit, or you're doing a process audit, or you're doing a marketing discovery audit, whatever they, or you, let's say you're a coach, an HR consultant, and you want to speak with the managers, and you want to meet with them, one-on-one, and understand what's going on, and see their body language, right? So that's an advantage that you're local. So you can differentiate, even if everyone their cousin is buying maybe offshore or from a different geography because it's cheaper. Potentially, you could differentiate on you being here and local, and providing that, charging a premium, because you can go and meet people on site and be there with them and support them in ways people who are not in your market can do it. So some thoughts on this. Let me know if you have some follow-up questions on that. But that's a really good question. Now, moving on. So like, how do we identify our unique value proposition? Very simple, very straightforward. Ask yourself, what makes you exceptional? So, and if I'm not just saying this to make you feel good, there's something exceptional about you. If you don't have anything exceptional, then there's a bigger issue. You gotta have some skills. You gotta have, know what your talents are. If you want to start a consulting or a services business, or even if you're building a product, you have to know the stuff you're making, you're building, or the services that you want to deliver. So there's things, whether you're sort of from the younger crowd, you have a few years of experience and you've worked in corporate, and now you want to start your own business. You have 5 years of experience in corporate. I mean, that's experience. Or maybe, let's say, if you're mid-career and now you want to climb your second mountain, you also have maybe 20 plus years of experience in a few areas, right? So ask yourself, and be very honest. What is it, what makes you exceptional? Be very self-aware, be very honest. And, this is not the time for humility nor self-flattery or arrogance, right? Just be very real, very honest. Ask people who care about you, people around you. They'll probably tell you 90% of what you need to know. uh, but the single most important question then can probably help you craft a very compelling, unique value proposition is to articulate a clear problem solution statement. Uh, so, what was that burning problem that you noticed, or maybe the industry gap that led you to start your business? You maybe something you've experienced. You want to get stuff delivered to you, and no one delivers that, so you start that business. Or maybe you want to uh, help nonprofits in the how they recruit people. You in your area, you've worked with some nonprofits, and they don't have the management background, so you can offer that as a service. Or maybe it's um, financial advice and financial consulting to those who just started work. They don't have a whole lot of work in what investments to pursue, and what stocks to buy, and what mutual funds to go after. So whatever the case might be, that burning problem that you noticed, you want to spend some time on it, and document, um, like what you know about it, what you heard from potential customers, like why they're dissatisfied and they can't find a solution. And it's okay if you don't get it right the first time around. You can refine it over time. But but keep in mind, you don't have to. I speak with a lot of founders, and sometimes they have an idea and they're like really uncertain, or maybe anxious, or maybe they're fearful of failing, and people will laugh at my idea. My friend, you don't have to have invented something, and with 3 patents, to have identified a problem in your sector. It could be something as simple as there aren't high touch services by certified technicians available in your industry. So you're meeting that need. That means you're solving that problem. So this is how most businesses start, actually. Someone notices a need, um, they have a pain point, and you don't find any solutions for it, or the solutions are too expensive, or too slow, or just not available. So then you decide to do something about it. Other factors you should reflect on are your own expertise. I always talk about hard skills and soft skills, communication, listening, being, having empathy. All these soft skills are important. Um, Getting stuff done. The resilience, everything that you have, whether in your professional life or in your personal life. This is these are your assets. So the methods maybe that you've developed in maybe the way you approach things strategically, tactically, your track record, again, professionally and in your personal life, all of those are things unique to you. And maybe they just the way you speak with people, the way you approach your relationships in general, that could apply. If you're pleasant and you're smiling all the time, and people come to you for their issues, and you have they cry on your shoulders, maybe this is something you can transfer to a customer support services that you can offer, because you're just good at listening and addressing people's problems. So when you look at your market or industry, what also, like, look, what do other businesses, other consultants get wrong, or maybe misunderstand, that you have figured out? So reflect on how these elements combine to provide distinct benefits to your clients. Now, I'll share some specific examples in a minute, but to summarize, or to put these factors in few categories, I would say 3 categories. Know your audience. You can't craft your value, your unique value proposition, without knowing your audiences, or your audience or audiences, and then and everything about them. Uh, The second thing is, evaluate your competitors, as we said earlier, and find gaps and opportunities in what they do and maybe what they don't do. And then third is, as I said earlier, like your core strength, everything about you, everything special about you. And if you feel, for those of us who maybe haven't started their own business before, maybe that you've had a rough time to date in your business, in your life. Maybe you haven't held a steady job. I mean, um, maybe you haven't been promoted. You feel down for many reasons. Maybe some of us were hit with a mental illness or issues in our family, or maybe some sort of addiction. It is okay. You can always start. You still have 100% of you, the rest of your life is still available to you. So speak with someone who maybe has gone through some of the challenges that you have gone through. Feel free to reach out to us. I offer 2 hours of, sorry, 2 sessions a week, no charge, no gimmicks, no sales pitches. I'm not there to make any money out of those sessions. It's my way of saying thank you to people who have helped me along the way, many of them. So go on our startupwithferris.com and go on the Ask Ferris, and Ferris spelled Feras, and click, schedule something on my calendar. I'll be more than happy to help. If you're going through some challenges, some rough times, you're going through some rough patches in your life, let me know. And you're serious about making a difference and changing, and you want to start a business, I'll be more than happy to share my experience with you and some of the challenges that I've gone through, to help you um, build some expertise. If you don't have core strength today, it's not the end of the world. You can always build some expertise based on what you have done in your life, what you have done in your personal life, and also in your business. So let's pause here and see what questions we have before we talk about communicating your UVP. Now that you've put together, you've understood. Now that you understand the importance of the unique value proposition, and you have jotted down some ideas, how do we communicate that to our customers? How do we get strangers to give us their money? All right, let's see. So what could be, the question is here, what could be the UVP for a service like accounting that some people might see as a commodity? Yes, and this is a great question on accounting. You can replace accounting with anything: financial consulting, HR consulting, anything, services. Um, I don't know, roofing, plumbing, you name it. You can replace accounting with anything. So how do you differentiate? How could you UVP for something that people might think as a commodity? So when you start, let's just stick with accounting. When you start your accounting service, let's say you do accounting in corporate today, and you understand, uh, you work, balance sheets and P&L and financial planning and forecasting, and also maybe you're a CPA and you do taxes, so you understand that really well, and you figured it's time to go and branch off and do something on my own. I want to just leave and do something on my own. So how do I differentiate? Yes, CPAs are all over us, around us. I think initially you might not be ready to maybe niche down on something specific, and you can just offer, let your friends, let your network know about, hey, I started my accounting services, my bookkeeping system, or my CPA services. So that's okay initially. But what I want you to do is think of your areas of expertise. Did you work, for example, in a specific vertical, let's say healthcare, or maybe in finance, or maybe in with telecommunication companies, or maybe you worked with doctors and dentists. So although a balance sheet is a balance sheet and a P&L is a P&L, but each sector, each vertical, market vertical, there's specific things that are unique to them. So that would be one area to differentiate, is that I've done a lot of work for example, medical professionals, maybe also for larger businesses like labs, or maybe hospitals. So I think look for ways that will differentiate you, even in something that is considered a commodity, because the issue with a commodity is that it's just going to be very competitive. People are not going to pay a premium for that. So I would still say look for things. Again, maybe it's the vertical, the sector that you're in. Maybe if you've worked with Fortune 500, for example, then you understand the complexities of doing accounting for a Fortune 500. So maybe then it's going to be not just you, maybe you and two, three others who will start that business focusing on an area, on a challenge that Fortune 500s are facing when they work with maybe with their own accounting or the big accounting firms. If the Fortune 500 are hiring the likes of PwC or any of the big four to do their accounting, maybe there's a niche service in accounting that you're really good at. Maybe you've spent a lot of time working with companies who have branches overseas, and you understand the laws and the taxation and tax optimization services for companies with offices globally. So they might hire you for this niche service, and you can charge a premium for it. And lawyers, attorneys, they if you go with a sort of like a general attorney, business attorney, they might charge you a set hours. As you specialize, as you work with attorneys who maybe they specialize in personal injury, or maybe they specialize in, I don't know, mergers and acquisitions in technology, the hourly rate is just going to kind of skyrocket. Good for them, bad for us. But that specialization and that the uniqueness and the expertise and the way you're differentiated, I think those are all play a good factor. So again, there are always ways to differentiate. Initially, you might not be able to do it right away, but do that assessment, not only when you start a business, but do it when you do your annual planning. Like, look at the last year. What business did we do more of? Did we end up by luck or by design working more with a specific sector, and we gained we understand now that sector really well, and we gained that domain expertise? Then make that part of your marketing approach next year, and just try to dominate that sector if you can. Good question. So let's see if you have any follow-up comments, let me know. Now, how do we communicate our UVP, our unique value proposition? So all that data that we've gathered, the audience insights, the scouring the competitive landscape and analyzing what the competitors are doing, going to networking events, going to conferences, talk to every booth you can, every exhibitor, and understand more about that industry. All of that and the self-reflection, it will help you articulate a clear and succinct unique value proposition statement. So there are a couple of things here. Is you want to craft a compelling narrative, and you want to use language that resonates with your audience, and where they can kind of almost feel the results that you will deliver to them. So here are some very concrete tips on communicating your value proposition. So use clear and concise language. Avoid industry jargon, technical terms, avoid ambiguity, and clearly communicate the benefits, not just sort of the features. Here's what I do. Like, here's how I can help you, and I'll show you some examples in a little bit. Also, you want to make it very unique and very memorable. What sets you apart from your competitors? Again, individually, bring in your own personal experience. Like, hey, I was hit with this issue and I recovered, or I was laid off and then I started this business, or share with tell your story and make it memorable. Part of your distinctive strength and advantages. Also, as I've been emphasizing throughout this session, is you really have to be customer centric, meaning addressing their needs and solving their problems. If you're not doing that, if you're just sort of bragging about all the certifications that you have and all the great work that you do, and you're not listening and addressing those needs, people will not buy from you, no matter what the price is. So here's some examples. So let's say you want to set up a strategic advisory consulting company. I'm just going to, again, these are not, don't use them. So don't copy and paste, but copy and tweak and then use, right? So you can say, if you're a strategic advisor, I leverage, 20 years of industry experience and a data-driven approach to help clients navigate their complex challenges and achieve sustainable growth. Now, this is very broad, but you can plug in, if you want to do strategic consulting, use this example and then refine it with, let's say, instead of saying, let's say you work in the healthcare sector, you can say, instead of approach to help clients, I help providers, or maybe patients, or whatever, again, the audience you're targeting, and tweak this approach with something very specific and something very tangible. So you're saying 20 years of experience, you're leveraging decades of experience, you're saying data-driven approach, and then you're saying complex challenges in a specific vertical. So that's one example. Let's say you're in, say, digital transformation. Everybody wants to digitize. Everything wants to go and turn their manual processes into automated processes in marketing and operations and HR. So you can say, we empower businesses to embrace innovation, streamline operations, and capitalize on emerging AI technologies. So you can be a leader in your sector. Again, this is a bit broad. I want you to take that, if you're in the digital transformation space, and refine it, and maybe add something like, we've helped companies reduce operational costs by 10+%. So that is something very tangible, very, very specific. If you can't commit to that, so don't say it. If you only say 5%, that's fine. But the idea is, say, you're empowering businesses to embrace innovation. So that means you apply latest technologies like AI, you help them streamline operations, and then you're helping them impact the bottom line in a great way if you're reducing 10% of the cost. So another example, let's say you want to do change management. Let's say you're good with processes. And again, some of these examples are technical today for whatever reason, but this applies to whatever sector you're in. You can say, if you want to be a change management consultant and build a company around that, you can say, with, again, 5 years or 10 years of a track record of successful change management initiatives in the SMB market, or like Fortune 500, whatever works for you. We guide organizations transitioning, with a human-centric approach. So this way, it's not just all about efficiency and making everybody unhappy. You're making change is hard on everybody. So you're assuring your audience that you're helping them go through these transitions with a human-centric approach, and making sure the team is going to excel, because you're improving. You're going from maybe one unoptimized way of doing things to something, with the change, that you're introducing, to for them to excel, and do better as a business. Also, everyone feeling safe. So there's a human aspect to your approach. So again, quickly presenting your expertise. We have, with a proven track record of 10+years, 5+years in over maybe 25 initiatives for the SMB or for the Fortune 500. We guide organizations through major transitions. So be very specific, refine this, for your purposes. And the last example, let's say you're a communications coach. So something would work like this: I empower your team, your managers. I help them with improve their communication skills with personalized coaching, tailored to their goals. So now this is a differentiator. You're not bringing some sort of template that you use for the entire company. You're providing personalized coaching that is tailored to the goals of the individual, and then you're specifying whether it is mastering public speaking, or just enhancing their leadership presence and authority. So again, take these as examples and see if you can refine them to fit your own situation. So we've talked a lot about positioning. We haven't talked about, okay, here's how you price, here's the hourly rate, here's the project. We'll talk about that next week. But it's really important to properly position yourself as you go out and sell. And if you've started a business already, let's say you're a year or two into it, and you're struggling with pricing and selling, re-examine your positioning today. If you're busy during the week, this weekend, take 4 hours and just reflect on the last quarter, reflect on last year, and see how you can refine your positioning, because it's not realistic. It's not. I mean, there's if you're not positioning yourself properly, especially if you've been in business for a while, then it's really going to be hard, if not impossible, to start to charge more and improve your bottom line. And then if you're starting and you're just or thinking of starting a business, it's not realistic that you'll be able to position yourself as we've described day one or week one or month one. But so if you can't do it right away because you just don't have the experience, you haven't done the hours, you haven't delivered a lot of projects yet, just keep in mind that this is where you want to be. You want to be able to position yourself where that people will come to you. They know how you differentiate. They know that you provide assurances to deliver the services to their satisfaction, and they'll come to you and they'll be willing to pay a whole lot of money. But initially, again, don't worry about don't worry about it. Like I gotta sell at a high premium price day one. What I want you to do is initially do what you can to sell. I want you to be obsessed with selling. Um, but that cannot be, and even if you're offering big discounts, even if you are throwing in free training and free audits and putting in some pro bono hours or doing whatever, like do whatever to get sales and have some logos that you can have on your website or on your profile. You got to have those. That's going to enable you to really first survive and get revenue in, and second will enable you that extra work, that discounts, that's going to enable you to deliver project and refine your delivery process and be more efficient at delivery and be able to really speak confidently about selling and delivering. So initially I want to be obsessed with selling and delivering and getting few logos under your belt, but you can't be in that mode for a long time. You run out of business. So I want you to think about positioning to make sure it's sort of top of mind. But it's okay initially if you if you even do some things for free, which we'll talk about next week. There are certain circumstances, specific cases where it is very okay to offer your service for free, or maybe at a highly discounted discounted rate, because um, it's sort of a stepping stone for you to grow. But we won't cover that today. We'll cover it next week. For now, I want you to think of how you want to position yourself. The homework is to look at the differentiators about the audience, about your strength, your core strength, and put this together. And then over maybe a week or two, maybe by next week, by the next live stream, you can share with me an example of your unique value proposition. We can maybe audit it here live, or you can email to me. But over the next few Wednesdays, we will be going over the art and science of getting traction in the early phases of the business, and then as you grow, uh, what pricing models are available to you, and then how you benchmark your own pricing, and then how is it that you can still charge a premium and close more deals, and then that will lead to improving your profitability. So we're coming to the end of this session, but before we end, let's see if we have a question here. Should I compete on price when I'm just starting out? Well, if you're just starting out, as I just said, I want you to sell. I don't want you to worry too much about pricing. And again, we'll talk about this more next week. But uh, initially, especially for those of us who don't have a sales background, I mean, you're not certain about so many things. You're not sure how to pitch. You're not sure whom to pitch to. You're not sure what to say, how to say it. You're not ready to handle objections. And if you don't have sales, and if we're not generating revenue, it causes issues from a financial perspective, but also from a confidence level from, oh my goodness, I left my job, or I did not pursue a job after a layoff, or, this is my dream, this is my passion. Now I'm not successful at. So it's really important for you from a psychologically and also financially to get some revenue, and even if it's little. So I wouldn't worry about pricing or many other aspects of that we discussed earlier today. I want you to think of positioning, like here's, you position yourself in your marketing material on your website and on your profile, as we discussed today. But when it comes to the actual selling, let's say you're selling, I want you to focus on closing that deal. So if your hourly rate, again, I'm not suggesting you sell hourly, but if your hourly rate is $200 an hour and you can close a deal at $100 an hour for that specific deal, not something you're publicizing, go ahead and do it. And there's actually an art of doing that without you coming across cheap or just so desperate to get that deal. So initially, I wouldn't worry about competing on price. I want you to focus on getting the deal. Over time, it's a strategic decision whether you want to compete on price or you want to compete on quality or you want to compete on maybe delivery. And I think there's a saying where it's like a triangle. You can only get two of these. You can't get all three of them. So you can be premium service, premium responsiveness, premium high level quality, and the cheapest. It just doesn't work that way. So there are strategies on how to compete on pricing, compete on price as just a business model, and there's another strategy on how to compete on offering a premium service and charging accordingly. So yeah, again, if you have specific things around your case, please let me leave me a comment here or email me or direct message me on LinkedIn. I'll be more than happy to answer. So as we come to closing here, I want to focus on um, really by clearly understanding and effectively communicating your unique value proposition, you're going to position yourself and your consulting services as indispensable assets. People just can't do what they need to do without your help, and then with this perceived value um, comes justifiable pricing. So um, in the world of consulting and services, prices can vary widely. Some people offer a great value at low prices, while others change a lot without delivering, charge a lot without delivering much. So how do you stay competitive? By making sure that what you offer is worth every penny to your clients. And if you consistently deliver top-notch results, that's the end of it. That's really the crux of it. If you sell, great. You got to deliver and provide results. You'll always stand out, no matter what others are charging. And just because you could charge more, and again, we'll talk about this more next week, it doesn't mean you can skip on giving your clients the best service possible. So that's it for today. Leave us a comment, leave us a question if it's something that's on your mind that we have not addressed. And please make sure if you like what you heard, click the like button and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, or if you're on another platform, let us know, leave us a comment, or hopefully you like this content. And go to startupwithfares.com, Fares spelled Feras, and sign up for our daily newsletter, that Daily Advisor. This is where we provide daily tips and strategies Monday through Friday to those who want to start a business or those who started and they're struggling to grow, but they want to build 7 and 8 figure businesses. That Daily Advisor is for you. So thank you again so much, and we will see you next time.